Hello, 2xTheGrind fam, and welcome back to another episode. Yes, it's been a long time, and yes, we do keep saying that we're coming back and we're back and stuff like that, but a lot has been going on. I'm sure you guys are aware of everything that happened with the team, etc. So, we just took some personal time just to try and figure things out. It was kind of hectic at the beginning of it coming out, but we actually made a New Year's resolution, didn't we, Peach?
We did indeed.
And what was our resolution?
To upload more to the podcast.
Yes.
Consistently. Because, we've done a good amount of episodes, but we just want to be a lot more consistent with it. We have the space to do it. A lot of personal stuff came up, waiting for Infinite to drop. Infinite unexpectedly came out, so we were underprepared. And then a whole bunch of stuff with the team from... being blacklisted to getting suspended to playing with a sub to then the holidays and some other big stuff,
all sorts of things that really were very unexpected for many parties. Some parties understood what was going on, some parties didn't. All sorts of things. Just a lot of it sprung up. But our New Year's resolution this year, now we kind of are more, I would say, like comfortable with kind of what's going on
just back in
life.
A groove. I feel like.
Exactly.
For sure.
So that's what we're going to do. And whether that is filming it or whether that is audio only, like for example today, like we're quite busy today. And obviously setting up cameras and the lights, etc. and the editing is quite a lot. So if we want to put out an episode consistently, but we just don't have the time to film it, we're just going to do audio. So hopefully you guys are okay with that. It is a podcast after all, but... we have been really loving uploading videos to YouTube, so we are going to try and keep doing that. But, folks, welcome to another episode. It's good to see you or hear you, or thanks for listening. We appreciate all the support, and I know a lot of you guys have been writing, when is the podcast coming back? Well, it's back. We promise. It is back. We're going to try and be a lot more consistent and upload every single week. And we're going to try and keep it to the same date. Look, if we miss the exact same date, but get it out that same week, we apologize. But we have a lot going on. Yeah,
I take the blame for that, to be honest,
that's okay,
because I got scrims, sponsored streams, all kinds of stuff that kind of end up eating into the day. Trying to be a lot healthier and get back on the workout grind. Yeah, and it's just been a lot of. I woke up today, didn't I? And I was like, I'm so tired.
I know we've been working out as well, but let's talk about the coffee, because we do have a coffee, even though you can't see us. We are actually tasting coffee right now, and this is actually from the same company. I believe it might have been our last review.
I think it was
actually. It's from the same coffee company, same brewery, I guess. Roasting company. This was another gift from Brad and Jenna, but this was for Christmas. And actually it was hand delivered this time, because Jenna was over for a very special reason, which was amazing. We'll get into all of that, but it's by Summer Moon. It's oak roasted coffee, and this one is called Inferno, and this is a dark roast. And actually this was technically a Christmas present to you.
What's crazy is that if I did not know that it was called Inferno and it was oak roasted, I would have been able to say all of those things.
Would you?
Because that is perfectly perfectly summarizes this cup of coffee. It's got an oaky flavor, and it is very hot.
Well,
that's why it's called Inferno.
What kind of roast is it? Wow, that ASMR right there. Wow.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, that's probably really loud.
Oh, it's lovely. What roast is it?
I'm trying to decide now, because I did put a little bit of cream roach taints.
You want to try my black coffee?
No, not really. Okay. I think it's a dark roast. Might be medium. I think it's a dark.
Well, don't flip-flop. What is it?
It's dark.
Yes, it is dark. Yeah. Congratulations.
Thank you.
You made one of three choices.
I am the roast master. You already know I'm the roast master.
Okay,
so.
The roast master in many different ways, coffee and on the stream. Now, we need to talk about what this coffee is all about. The coffee in this bag was roasted in a brick oven over seasoned Texas oak. Our twin Firebrick roasters naturally remove all bitterness by utilizing all three types of heat. Can you guess the three types of heat that made this roast?
I don't know. Three types of heat.
Okay, well then you're not a roast master. Radiant, conduction, and convection. We created a roaster that brings out the natural affinity between coffee and wood. We drew up the plans, laid every brick, and have dedicated the last 16 years.
I'm so glad I didn't try to answer that. To proving that the wood makes it good.
Hell yeah.
I'm so glad I didn't try to answer that because you said 3 types of heat and you said you're going to try. You know what I thought of saying?
What?
Like fire.
Fire?
Like, because, you know, it's
why did I say that? Like,
because it's
Gollum from Lord of the Rings, and that was weird.
What's the word? What is it?
What?
In a brick oven?
Yeah,
so
brick oven.
Brick oven.
That's
yeah,
pizza.
so like, you know, like a fire, but
that's pizza.
Yeah.
But no, it is a dark roast, and I gotta say, when I was actually, because it's whole beans in a bag.
Oh, is it a whole bean?
It's whole bean bag. A whole bean bag. It's a whole bean bag of coffee. Could you imagine? I wouldn't mind that for a present. A whole bean bag of coffee, that'd be sick. When I tell you the aroma,
you would have to ruin the bean bag.
Yeah, I know.
In order to get the
coffee.
coffee.
Aroma that was coming off these beans, unbelievable. It smells incredible, and they were like slightly oily. Like there was a genuine like slick shine oil to them. I've actually taken pictures and it's on our Instagram account right now. 2xTheGrind Instagram account. There's pictures of the bag. It's really cool. It came with a really cool rubber band as well to ensure freshness. And you can literally see the shine of the beans.
Is it up right now or are you speaking in the future?
No, it's up right now.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
cool.
in the future. But right now.
Oh, okay.
When this is out.
When this is out. That's what I was wondering.
Today.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah. I have do you want to see the photos?
No, that's okay. I trust you. Just making sure you're not lying to the viewers.
I'm not going to give my review right now, but I'm just going to say it's delicious. And I'm having mine black, and you're having yours with a bit of white chocolate Starbucks creamer.
No, it wasn't white chocolate. I don't know what it was. No, it wasn't the white chocolate one. It was a different one.
Is it next to you?
No.
No.
Why would I put it back in the fridge?
Oh, I don't know. I was like, okay. Anyway, let's get on to business.
Yeah.
So we have a lot to talk about because, you know, we've obviously haven't been here for a little bit. Do we get the personal stuff out of the way first, or do we do Halo stuff?
Let's talk about the. I've had a lot of people asking about it, and I said that it's going to be in a podcast. So let's talk about the personal stuff first, and then we'll jump into Halo. What? Don't put me on the spot. You're the host here. What do you mean? You asked the question.
Start, bruh. Go on.
What do you mean?
What do you mean? I asked the question. You asked the question, bitch.
Exactly, and then now you're supposed to ask the question.
No.
Yeah.
No.
What do you want me to say?
What?
We got
that day was the best interview of my life.
Oh, wait. What day?
Because you asked me a question.
Oh, okay.
Mr. Interviewer.
Okay. That's so cheesy.
I know. I am really cheesy though. That is just me.
You don't like puns, do you?
Nope. So, go and talk to him about it.
Well, okay. I mean, yeah, we got engaged over Christmas. It was before Christmas, a couple days before.
It was over Christmas, basically.
I know.
Literally the day before Christmas Eve? Day before?
You already forgot. That's crazy.
I always mix up the 23rd.
Oh, the day before
and 24th.
Christmas Eve.
I always think the 23rd is Christmas Eve, and it's not.
No, yeah, you actually do that. Yeah, it was the day before Christmas Eve. Yeah, is that the right terminology though? Like over Christmas?
Yeah, over Christmas.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I said that, then I was like, well, it's before.
That's right.
Okay,
that's right.
Cool. Good to know. I mean, what do you want me to say about it? You want me to tell the whole story or what?
Tell them, because for me,
you gotta ask the questions. You asked the questions, and I got the answers. Because otherwise, I don't know what to say about it.
Me because
it wasn't a dream.
Shocked.
It was real.
So explain what you did.
Well, basically,
and then I'll talk from my perspective.
Yeah. Well, basically, I think a long time ago when we had kind of talked about the whole engagement thing.
Yeah.
I was trying to pick your brain about it kind of, and we were just joking around talking about it.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Well, I just thought you were going to ask my dad. My parents came over.
I'll get to that. But I'm saying initially when we ever first, I don't even know when it would have been, but we're joking around, talking about it and whatever. You had said that you really wanted to, whenever I did propose to you, you wanted to be surrounded with family and friends, and it's the same way I really felt. But obviously,
I wanted to have them available, nearby, because if something like that to me is very personal.
Yeah.
And I'd really like to celebrate it with my family and friends. But then the one thing I said to you is I want it to be personal. So I don't for example, if he took me to, I don't know, a baseball game, and then on the big screen I'd be mortified.
Yeah.
That's just not me. It could be for someone else.
It's not both of us, to be fair.
It's just not what
so I think that's why. I think that's why. I'd say for me, it went pretty perfect to plan. So
it was perfect.
But so I was planning since 2020. February of 2020.
Yeah,
I started planning.
So sneaky,
bro.
I
started planning it out in February of 2020. The whole COVID thing happened, so it just kind of was well, never mind, I guess, because obviously Lot's family lives in the UK, so border restrictions and stuff, they couldn't get over here. Lot and I are pretty like transparent, so like it actually kind of worked out in my favor, where a long time ago you said something to me again, like it's always like very like jokey kind of, but like basically I told you up front that like I hadn't asked your dad permission and like I was going to, remember?
Yeah.
So you were kind of under the impression the entire time that I didn't talk to your dad.
Yeah, I know.
And I hadn't for a long portion of that. But then basically, I don't even know when it would have been. I'd have to really think about what month it was specifically. Yeah, I can't even think off the top of my head, like when I actually spoke to your dad. But basically, borders open up, restrictions eased up. Her family decided to come for Christmas. Do you remember how I just kept asking over and over again, when's your sister coming? What are the dates? Like, what are the exact dates? Do you remember me saying that? Yeah, really see, don't. Like, she didn't even, like, piece it together because her sister and brother-in-law were like, you remember, like, Hannah and Andy, like, they were going to come, and then it was like, well, actually, they don't know if they're coming. Well, they're not sure because of restrictions. Yeah, so then, like, obviously, I was trying to plan everything out. So then finally, they got locked in. They were coming the 22nd, I think they were coming. But the only issue with planning, and this was the only stressful part of it, I'd say, was just that they were only here for such a short amount of time.
Yeah.
So I spoke to your dad on the phone and basically asked him without asking him, because I was like, hey, like, I have something I have to talk to you about, but I want it to be in person. But depending on what you say, like, I want to do something, but I can't do that unless you know what I mean? Like, yeah. And, but it was funny because the whole story is way longer, it's like, which we don't have time for, but basically he knew it was coming because I had talked to your brother to set up he and I calling without him calling you.
And also my parents are his number one, like, fans in terms of like marriage. Like, they're also your fans, of course, in gaming, but like they are very excited.
Well, we have
they were
a great
waiting
relationship
for this moment.
We have a great relationship. So he figured it out because I had to figure out how I was going to call him without, like, setting up the call without him knowing.
Yeah, he was worried. He didn't, like, I think the way that Jake said it to him worried him. Jake was so, like, so non-specific and so generic. He thought like I was sick.
Yeah. Well, so basically, like I'll kind of sum up, like, long story short, with how he figured it out before I spoke to him. I spoke to Jake, who's Lot's brother, because I tried calling him. You went to go get your hair done or something, and I was like, "This is the perfect time. This is the perfect time. I'm gonna call and I'm gonna talk to him." Yeah. I was pretty nervous. I was nervous because, like, he didn't know. He had no idea I was calling him. But it actually worked out, to be fair, to make it a lot easier, where he didn't answer because he was on a flight. I didn't know. I was just randomly calling them, and he didn't answer. So I went like panic mode. I was like, oh my God, like, he didn't answer. He's going to try calling you, or he's either going to call me and we're going to be together again soon, or he's going to try calling you and be like, cause that's how he is. Like, he'll just he'll call over and over again because he thinks something's wrong. Yeah. PJ tried to call me, and you'd be like, what? Like, why would PJ try to call you?
Yeah.
So I called Jake and I was like, Jake, like, where's your dad? And then he was like, oh, he's on a flight. And I was like, okay, I can't call him again. Lot's going to be home in like half an hour. I need you to call him and tell him, PJ's got to talk to you. Do not call him. Like, do not call him back. And that basically put your dad into like panic mode, that something was like terribly wrong. Yeah. But basically, I think, so he was really nervous. But he tried lying to Jake, be like, I spoke to PJ. He told me you could tell me specifically, like, he told me, tell me the specifics, like, what's going on. And Jake's like, I know you're lying. That's not, he did not say that. And
he was just like, is Lot okay though?
Yeah.
And he was like, yes.
Yeah. Well, the last thing apparently he said to your dad, like Jake said to your dad, was like, Dad, because they're going back and forth about it, like almost to the point where they're arguing about it. And he's like, Dad, I cannot tell you what it's about. PJ has to talk to you specifically about something. Yeah. And then your dad just goes, okay, got it, bye, and hung up the phone. So when I talked to him, it was really funny because, again, I spoke to him and I didn't ask there, but we had talked about it, obviously.
Yeah, and then when you did ask, I remember, like, like, everyone was at home. Like, all my parents had arrived. On the 22nd. My sister had arrived, and her husband had arrived. Everyone, like, it was a full house. Like, what, 8 of us?
Yeah, 8 people.
It was a lot. And
7 people.
7 people, and then 9 if you include the dogs.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of people in the house, a very full house, and then PJ and my brother, like PJ were like, oh, I need to nip out and grab something. Jake goes, I'll come with you, and then my dad goes,
we actually had to go. We actually had to go out and get something.
Goes, yeah, I'll come as well. I didn't think anything of it.
Yeah.
Like, that's something my dad would do. Like,
yeah,
I was just like, no,
I
didn't think anything of it. Like, honestly, the only thing that I was aware of, like, because we're kind of getting off track here, like, we're having fun with specifics with my dad and stuff like that. But, you know, I hadn't, like, a lot of the questions I had, you know, after the engagement were, did you not see it coming? Like, your whole family came over, you know, it's Christmas, like, blah, blah, blah. You hadn't seen them in 2 and a bit years. And I was like, not really. Like, you know, PJ and I, like, talk about everything quite openly. Not saying that he'd tell me when he was going to propose, but it was more like, I just was under the impression that you were going to ask my dad this trip. Like, I just was under the impression, like, I would know, because if you were suddenly like, oh, me and Steven are off fishing, I'd be like, oh, okay, like, you're going to go ask him permission now. I was not under the impression that you were going to ask me
I knew
this
you
trip,
had no clue. I knew you had no clue.
So I had no idea.
Because the night before, you were like, you're like having a joke, you're going to ask my dad this trip? Like,
I was grilling him the night before we proposed. We were in bed and we were just, like, having a little laugh around. Yeah. And I kept saying stuff like, it's okay, you can tell me what you're going to do. I'll help you.
She's like, I'll help you plan it to talk to him. Like, let me help you. And then
in PJ's mind, he's like going crazy.
The last thing she said to me, you got, like, not like annoyed because it was like sarcastic, but you were like, it's not fair that you get to be excited about this and I don't, or something like that.
And in his mind, he's like, yeah, I've got a full party planner coming tomorrow, setting up a whole yacht. Like, in his head, he's like, geez, Louise, woman. Just classic being annoying me. But,
no, just not knowing you is cute.
But the moment was really special. So PJ and my parents and PJ's parents set up a family photo shoot with us and my parents and my family.
A fake but real.
It was a fake but real photo shoot where we had to drive like an hour and a half away to go to this like photo shoot and have pictures taken, because obviously it's been a long time since I've seen my family, and we've never had a family photo shoot.
You were like really excited for the photo shoot. I was so
excited because I was excited for the photos.
That's what it was, because I remember you telling me how much you wanted to do photos too, and then I think I spoke to my mom who recommended it, because
she did a great
basically
job.
the reason for the photo shoot was because we had to be out of the house from like 1 p.m. until 7 p.m.
Tell them why, because you had a
so basically I hired I guess you'd call it like an event planner kind of thing, to come through the backyard and basically transform it into this, I don't know if you can like winter trees and lights, and it was really nice. It turned out, I'm really happy with how it turned out. But yeah, so we had to be out of the house, and I had to come up with a reason to, like, I need the dogs out of the house because the dogs would just be freaking out. And yeah, luckily it just really went smooth to plan, because you know, it was tough trying to think of something. I can't imagine
how you were feeling now, like looking back at it, like during like the, you know, the car trip up, like, and the photo shoot, you're just there thinking like, I hope everything is being set up, I hope everything's okay, like, I can't imagine how stressful that would have been.
I wasn't stressed about it, because for the most part, everyone had the assignment. Everyone knew the assignment. You know what I mean? So it was all okay. The only time I was stressed out about it, and you know this now, is when I went and got my haircut. And again, it worked out because we had the photo shoot.
Morning, right?
So I went and got my haircut that morning.
Yeah, you look great.
Thank you. I went and got my haircut that morning for this photo shoot. Obviously, she doesn't know it's really because of the proposal. It was for both, to be fair, because we did go get the photo shoot. But so I texted Justin and said, hey, I texted Justin because obviously I invited Lex over initially. Yeah. Like I initially was going to just be like Evan, Jenna, and Lex. And then, you know, I invited Justin and Matt like later on that day, basically. But I texted Justin to basically make sure that Lex knew, like, tonight was the night, like, be there at 7 p.m. And I'm driving with the GPS up, and all of a sudden I literally text him I text them and say that, and then I say, do not reply to this, deleting text, see you later, peace. Yeah. And I thought he was just dropping Lex off at the time. And so then I'm driving, so I delete it, don't hear from him all day.
By the way, just for context, we're driving to the photo shoots, and I went half away, PJ's driving, my dad's in the front seat with him, and it's me and my mum in the back of the car. Yeah. And then you get a text message.
I'm driving, and I see Justin, like, in the sat nav on the dashboard, it pops up.
It's Justin.
It says Justin pop up, and that was the only time I went absolute panic mode. And it's so bad that the first thing I thought was, I'm gonna kill him. I was like, I'm gonna actually.
Well, because what was my reaction? My reaction
Justin
was like,
texted you
because I saw PJ go to grab his phone and like open it, and he never does that when he drives. Like,
no,
he never ever does it.
I don't ever.
This is the only time that I thought something was
going
weird,
on.
but I didn't ever think it was that, like, at all. But I just thought, that's really strange. That's the only time I thought anything was a little bit out of place. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Was when I saw you pick up the phone and try and read it while you're driving. And I went, oh, babe, hand it to me. I'll get it for you. And he goes, no. And so I was like, okay.
Yeah.
And I didn't say anything.
And we're also not like that either.
Thank God my parents in the car. Because if my parents weren't, I'd have gone, don't be so dumb. Pass me the phone.
Yeah, because
like, I would have been like very forceful.
Because your dad
with it.
caught on real quickly.
My dad caught on very fast and went, oh, I got you, Peach, and like grabbed it. Yeah. And he was like,
it wasn't anything about it.
It's like, oh, it's about Justin's stream.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, and that was it. Gone. Like nothing. Nah, but you
bought. So I came up with a lie though on the spot. You remember, and you bought it pretty quickly.
What was it?
It was about the Christmas present.
Oh yeah.
Because my mom slipped up slightly. One time we were like over her house, and she like whispered something to me, and you heard it, and you're like, well, you left, and you're like, what is your mom like saying to you? And I was like, oh, I got you something really small because we had talked about not exchanging for Christmas. So then I said, I got you something really small, like don't freak out. And so that was the cover for my mom. It was like, oh, I got you something for Christmas, and you were like, oh my God, why'd you get me something?
I wasn't annoyed. I was just like, oh my God, we promised each other we wouldn't get anything.
So you went and got me something.
Yeah.
So then I used that as a reasoning that I got you something else. And that was basically it.
Yeah. I know it was very.
Other
than
that,
smart.
I wasn't too panicked though. It was okay.
No, it was no. And then we went back to after the photo shoot. We went to your parents for pizza.
Yeah.
And you let me eat 2 massive slices of pizza. And I nearly ate a third. And if honestly, if he had let me eat a third and knew he was proposing, I don't know if I'd have said yes. I'd have been so annoyed because I was like I was at the point where I was like, I was tired, I was starving, but I was getting to the point where I was really full as well, like where you like almost like coma full. So thank God I didn't eat another piece of pizza. But he, again, somehow, like, just me delirious, like, no clue what's going on, goes, okay, babes, we got to go now, because we got to take the dogs home, and, like, made an excuse. And then my parents like, oh, yeah, we're going to go out shopping in a minute with, like, blah. And, like, I literally thought nothing of it. I just trust everyone around me. It just doesn't click at all. So I was like, okay, grab the dogs, off we go in the car. We got the dogs in the back of the car and PJ's driving us home. It's like 5 minutes up the road. We get there and we get into the driveway, and then PJ looks at me and goes, okay, I need you to get out of the car, and then I need you to close your eyes. Yeah. And then this is when I was like, what? Yeah. So I was like, okay. Yep. And I was like, why? And then he was like, oh, because Justin dropped your Christmas present early because it's arrived in the backyard. So I was like, okay. And so I'm at the back gate with PJ, and I'm closing my eyes, and we're having like a little joke now. And I go, what is it? I was like, is it? And I was trying to guess as like a joke, thinking nothing of it. And I was like, is it a pool? I was like, is it an overground pool?
Is it a dog?
I was like, is it a dog? And he was like laughing, going, no. And like trying to get me in this game.
Keep in mind, by the way, this is like by far the coldest day.
Oh, it's freezing.
The coldest night that we had.
And it's like 7:00 at night. It's freezing, and it's pitch black as well. And I go, and then literally as a complete joke. Because actually, I used to say it to you a lot.
No, yeah, you say it about
anything.
All the time. Yeah, you'd say all the time.
As a joke,
to me,
and I was like, "Are you going to propose in the backyard?" Yeah. And I was like, "This is hilarious." Of course, he's not. Yeah. So I was like, and he goes, "No, would you just close your eyes and come with me?" I was like, "Okay." So I closed my eyes. He's leading me through the backyard, and all I can say, silent. Everyone's silent. Well, I say everyone, PJ and I are silent, apart from me yabbing on about dog poo. So I'm going, is there dog poo on the floor? Like, am I stepping in it? Will you make sure I don't step in it? I couldn't stop talking about dog poo.
Obviously I had picked up,
Yeah, obviously it was all picked up in the backyard. It was all like fresh and lovely. And then it was cold, and he was leading me through, and I obviously have my eyes shut, and I was true to it. I didn't open my eyes.
No, you did not.
I did not open my eyes. I kept my eyes shut. And then suddenly, like, there was like, behind your eyelids, there's like a flash of light and like a noise, like a camera. Mm. And I didn't register the first one. Yeah. But I was like, in my head, like,
it scared you. So I got worried that you were going to like piece it together like really quickly. Cause like I didn't think that they would take a photo until I started like talking to you, basically. But you know, they wanted to get
the whole moment, didn't they? And so like I thought, okay, that's weird. Like, what the hell? And then as we like walked a little bit further, then suddenly like there was clearly like two cameras, but I didn't know how many, but there was loads of flashing and loads of camera noises. And I was like, and I just went, what was that?
Yeah.
Didn't I?
Yeah.
And then did you tell me to open? Honestly, this point now, because of the cameras and hearing them and like kind of, I didn't obviously see them. That's when I started to like panic, but like in like a good way. Like it was more like very confused, like very shocked. So like I was really at this point like very confused. Like, I actually, some of it is a little bit of a blur to me because of how shocked I was. So then did you say open your eyes, or what happened?
I did.
You're gonna have to tell me what happened.
I said open your eyes, and then like the first thing I said to you was, because do you remember you were like trying, we kind of already talked about it, you were trying to convince me to like let you help me with talking to your dad.
Oh yeah, what you said was really cute. It was very smart. It was very sweet. He said
so I said the night before I said,
oh no, I'll think about it. Eyes shut, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So I said I'll think about it.
Yeah.
Like about letting you help. And then on the way home I said, yeah, you know, I thought about it. I'll let you help me. Like with it, like sarcastically, because in my head, I'm just like thinking it's so funny. I was like, I was like, yeah, you know what? I thought about it. Yeah, I'll let you help.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
And then she was like all happy because she's like,
yeah. I still had my eyes closed, and he said, so I can't tell you. I can't. No, what did he say? I can't.
said so. You're not. I just basically said like, so you're not going to be able. So
you're not.
Actually, you're not going to be able to help me talk to
your dad about asking you to marry me, because I already have. And then you told me to open my eyes, and that's when I felt like I got hit by a bus, because I opened my eyes, and first of all, I like literally for a second was like, is this our backyard? Like where the hell are we? Because it was absolutely beautiful. And there were photographers, and I was just a little bit, I was in shock. Could you tell I was in a lot of shock? I was in shock. And obviously like he got on one knee, asked me to marry him. It was very, very sweet. Like what he said, it was really cute. I didn't even say anything at all.
I didn't even say, I had a whole thing planned of what I was going to say, but it was so cold. Like, you remember how cold it was?
Like, it was intense. I wasn't cold. I was freaking roasting because I was like adrenaline central.
I was super cold, and then I got thrown off my game when the photographers started.
You got thrown off your game?
I did, because like I had it in my head, like, okay, this is what we're gonna walk up here, and then I'm gonna, you know, I had an idea of what I was gonna say, but then we're at the gate a lot longer than I thought, because you were trying to guess over and over and over again.
I know. I was joking. I thought it was something small.
No, I know you were joking, but then
oh my gosh,
I was like ready to start talking, and then you started like kind of not panicking, but like, you know, because of the cameras going off.
Yeah.
So I kind of like lost my train of thought completely.
You were perfect. It was brilliant.
Oh, I'm glad.
It was wonderful.
It was really difficult to think of where.
It was perfect.
To propose. Well, I love the way it turned out, and I'm glad you feel that way.
But yeah, so he proposed. The camera lady actually ushered me to be like, "You gonna answer him?" And I was like, "Oh yeah." Yeah. It was just a really special moment. There's like a bunch of pictures that I've already posted on my Instagram and stuff if you guys want to see it. But it was literally like perfect. And then we went into the house, and my family, our friends. Yeah. There were so many people there, and obviously like Jenna had helped set up all day. She cleaned the house. Van had so much to do.
Yeah, shout out Jenna. Shout out basically your whole family.
Yeah.
Obviously, my mom.
Yeah.
Jenna and Evan especially. I mean, Evan's been helping me since 2020. Yeah. Basically, playing it all out.
I know.
Yeah.
And it was.
And she was sick, so she couldn't make it. She was supposed to come.
It was the best day of my life.
Me
without doubt so far. But yeah, so we wanted to share the story with you guys because it was really fun. And pretty awesome, to be honest. I love it. It was cool. Every time I think about it, I get like butterflies and get like goosebumps. But it was absolutely amazing. Definitely the first time I've ever been that shocked in my life as well. Like a true surprise, like a true like ever. So that was kind of cool, and kind of felt like a very, very elongated jump scare from like a horror film, but like in a good way. But Anyway, so all the personal stuff out of the way. Let's talk
about
Halo.
Story.
That's the engagement story. Let's talk about Halo though, because obviously, we've been wrapped up on Halo. That's basically our entire life right now.
Yeah.
And a lot has been going on. I don't think we really spoke a huge amount about everything that happened, and I don't really intend to go into detail and bring up Royal 2 and that kind of situation. I feel like that's kind of self-explanatory, but kind of what we're going to talk about real quick is a little bit
about
it's
Raleigh,
got something to do with it, obviously, so we can kind of touch upon it where it's necessary. But I think I just want to start things off by saying, obviously I think you guys coming into the game had a lot of expectation for greatness right off the bat, and because that hasn't happened, I feel like there's a lot of people kind of talking about your team and about your ceiling and how good you really are and how good you can actually be, etc. And I think I'm going to remain non-biased even on our podcast. I think you're amazing, and personally, obviously I want the best for you, but I will remain non-biased in this conversation just because I feel like it'll make people understand what's going on really from an actual perspective. You're not the best right now, of course you're not. It's quite clear you're not. But does that mean you can't be? No. Anybody who's having that opinion that you guys can't be the best, anyone that has the opinion that United can't be the best, anyone that has an opinion that FaZe can't be the best, are crazy.
Yeah, it's just very early on, and I think where this stems from with Lot is just from what she's saying is just a lot to do with Twitch chat.
Yeah.
A lot of chatter. Obviously, C9 has been playing incredible. C9's
Twitch chat is Twitter. It's
it's just one of those things. It's just early on in the game, and C9 are incredible.
They're absolutely amazing.
People have shifted their tune a little bit to thinking that they're unstoppable, and I'm not taking away from how good they are, because they are incredible.
I think it's the back-to-backs that obviously kind of
it's the back
difficult to kind of argue with. If their success was broken up, it's in between.
I think the difference with it though, on the reason why you kind of even mention it, is because people just go very extreme very quickly, don't they? It's
they do.
C9 went from C9 didn't win any of the online qualifiers leading into. They got second. No. I think they got second.
People forget that you guys literally had no practice, no scrims. Things were kind of a bit shaky on the personal front. You guys were dealing with a lot of things mentally as well because of what's been happening with scrims, etc. And you guys won 2 online tournaments back to back.
So Optic won 2, we won 2, and then heading into Raleigh, obviously the whole thing happens. World 2 can't go. I think that kind of just eliminated us from winning. Obviously we had a great upset on Optic, but let's be honest, it eliminated our good chances of winning, because we were feeling like we were gonna win. We won 2 tournaments back to back. The tournament's in a week. We're like, oh, we got this. We really turned this around. And then C9 came out. I mean, they had a game 5. I don't know how close their series was. I know they went game 5 with Optic. I don't know how close all the games were. But I think they beat Optic game 5, and then I think they kind of just won the final pretty easily, right? Easy. Against United.
Yeah.
I think did United win 1 or 2 games? 1 game?
I don't remember them winning a game.
I think they won 1.
I don't know.
I want to say that they won 1.
Maybe.
But now they hopped into online, and it's like I said, people are just very quick to be really, I think really no team stands a chance, when it's I think the game's the game is so early on where you can't say that, and I always reference ourselves going back to Halo 5, because I can relate to being in a similar situation what C9 was in, and it's you just can't say that for a while about a team, and that was even when we were winning everything. Obviously with our scenario, I'll be honest, we've gotten a lot of frustrating comments because people are questioning our ability to win when we haven't even played with our full team again.
Yeah, I think that's the thing I really want to push you to talk about a bit, because in specific, because I think there's a lot of people that are just questioning your team, and there's been a lot of chatter around it and stuff. But I think what people need to understand, and I'm not saying collectively everybody, but some of the people who really don't understand what's happening is you can't expect your team to do well right now when you have one of the longest standing console teams in history in terms of your longevity as a group, and you have that chemistry. That's something that's definitely you know, there for you guys. You know each other very, very well in terms of your gameplay. And then suddenly, you know, you come into this brand new game you've been waiting for a long time. It comes out of nowhere, like randomly just drops.
Yeah.
You're like, okay, hold on a second, Thanksgiving, bye. You know, and then you're trying to get to work. You don't get scrims. Things then happen with somebody on your team, which is just extremely crap. Like, excuse my French, but like just the whole situation is just terrible from start to finish for so many different reasons. And, you know, you have to then not only deal with that mentally as a team, but then physically as well, because one of your players is out. Like, you have to then get a fill in. And luckily for you guys, you pick up Formal, which is great because obviously he's a friend of yours. You've lived with him before. You guys know him because you've been on the same org before. But, you know, you pick him up, and unfortunately, no matter how good that person, it could have been anybody. It could have been Shotzi. It could have been anyone you could have picked up, and it's not going to go to plan because, first of all, you're not having the practice. Second of all, it literally is technically a pickup team.
Yeah.
And then you also have to kind of work your way back through an open bracket at your first LAN event with little to no practice, and teams only just kind of being like, okay, well, maybe we'll scrim you.
Yeah.
There's so many factors.
Yeah, there's a lot of factors.
So many factors that literally you can't. I would say personally, honestly, I kind of would go as far as saying I haven't really seen you play.
Yeah. And then after that, you know, you have the holiday. You know, it's post event. Everyone takes a break. The holidays, everyone takes a break.
Exactly.
So really, when we started playing with Matt again, probably like 2 weeks ago now, I'd say is when we started playing.
Started scrimming.
Yeah, started scrimming with Ro too because he still can't compete in tournaments. It was a month off basically. And I think people expected, because we won back-to-back tournaments, people like expected us to immediately be winning again, even through scrims. And it's like, no, that's not the way this works. Like, you can't not play as a team for a month straight against people who play every day and just pick up just like that and be perfect. You know, we've had close scrims. Like, you know, the first scrim we played, we actually beat FaZe on the very first scrim we played. We had a couple iffy scrims with Optic. Where losing close games, but, you know, we just lose a scrim. And I think a lot of what our problem has been is staying really composed. Like right now in scrims, we are trying so hard to get back to the number one spot, where I think the problem that we've kind of run into, and we were there. Like, you know, when we win the 2 tournaments in a row, in our head, we're like, we figured it out. Like, we're back, you know, because for a while it was like we couldn't get any scrims and you're just frustrated and you're like, you know, even though you want to win, you couldn't practice to get there. And then when we won 2 tournaments, you know, the online tournaments back to back, even though our scrims were still like somewhat limited, we were like, we got this down. Like, we're progressing here. Then it's like you just get slammed back to the ground because obviously we don't play for a month, and we're don't play for a month with our full team.
Yeah. And
then we start playing, you know, against FaZe, against Optic, against a couple of these teams. And, you know, we're losing like close games that we're not used to losing. And I think that's where a lot of frustration comes in for us, is like, that's not a normal for us. But again, it's a normal when you haven't played, but obviously it doesn't make it like you're not going to be happy. Like, you're not going to be okay with it, you know? So, yeah, we've just been trying to get back on the same page now and kind of find our footing. It's a slow process. People don't get that, you know? Just scrims are scrims, and you got to take them for what they're worth. I think scrims,
it's a learning opportunity.
Scrims are a good indication of how stuff can go, but at the end of the day, it's who plays the best on the tournament. And I think Cloud9 is a perfect example of that. Cloud9, they split scrims a lot, you know, with Optic, with FaZe.
Is that down to like trying new things, or like pushing themselves into uncomfortable positions so that they can kind of learn?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of everything. Yeah. Like in scrims, you're like limit testing a little bit, like you're trying to figure out what works, what doesn't. And then on the flip side of that, you know, I talked about that composure side of it. They just have really, like for C9, you know, tip of the hat to them. They just have impeccable composure. You know, when they're down in a game, they're not freaking out, right? No. They ice up. But that's like where, when you're in a scrim, you probably just kind of like fold. Most of the time, I'd say in a scrim, you probably fold over and lose because you're like done with it, and you're ready to just kind of go over what went wrong. Whereas in a tournament, you're like 24/7, like locked in. You know what I mean?
If that's the case, then don't you have value at being like significantly down in like a certain situation, like say time's against you, it's not on your side, but then like you're significantly down? Is there not like value in trying to work through that if you would do that in a tournament setting? Is there not value in being like, okay guys, this is really bad right now. However, let's practice trying to get out of this situation and turn this around. Yeah, and trying to clutch up.
So people have asked that question a lot, and I think that there's two separate answers to that, right? And it's like, yeah, of course, like if you just play the whole way through, like that's never a bad thing to just play the whole way through, right? Like to what you're saying, like treat it like it's a tournament, practice that way. But at the same time, like, and this is kind of the way that I would explain it, especially early on in a game. Like if something's going really wrong, like it's not like it's a good thing to just like fold over and lose, but like it can be a good thing to just brush it off and move on to the next, for example. Because some of the times this stuff is happening, you don't know what to do. And the only way you're going to know what to do is to get done with the scrim and go over it. You know what I mean? So when you're practicing, there isn't that, okay, let's practice working out of this. Like I think that a better way to explain it, I think that that's the way to look at it if you know what you're supposed to do. Does that make sense?
No, that makes sense.
If you're like held in a 3-cap on live fire and you don't know how to get out of it, you're not going to magically play through that in a scrim. You need to like go over it, come up with a game plan, and then the next time it happens to you in a scrim, hopefully it doesn't happen in a tournament, you try your hardest for that game plan, and then it's either it worked or it didn't work and we got to come up with something different. But that's where I think the difference can kind of be, you know?
Yeah. No, absolutely. Yeah, it's interesting because, you know, I think there's like variations of opinion, like scrims, you know, count, or they did really well in scrims, or blah blah blah, and then there's other people who are like scrims mean nothing. Like, why are you bringing up scrims? So like scrim is weird, isn't it? Because like
I think they're a good indication.
It's just training. It's basically training for like an athlete.
They're really good. Scrims are, listen, and this is just my perspective. Everyone else is welcome to have a different opinion. Scrims are a very good indication of what most likely will happen, if that makes sense. Like if
makes perfect sense.
If C9 or Optic or whoever is beating, if Optic is beating everyone in scrims, then for the most part, like they should probably win the tournament. But if Optic's having like, and I just say Optic because they were the favorites heading into Raleigh, right? Optic was winning every scrim and they were winning every tournament, right? They were still winning every scrim, but then like we beat them twice in the finals. We won those 2 tournaments, we weren't all of a sudden having the best scrims. We just started catching fire in tournaments, you know, to where that's what I'm saying. We were figuring out the scrims are a very good indication for what could happen, not fully what's going to happen. Yeah. C9's a great example of that. C9 splitting games with people in scrims. I wouldn't say always, but, you know, they have split games with teams. Yeah. And then you get in the tournament and, you know, they're winning 3-0, 3-1. Like, they're not going game 5 with everyone all of a sudden, you know. So if you go back to 2016, just to reference ourselves because it's the easiest comparison, we would stomp people in scrims. You know, we were really good in scrims. We would 13-0 people. It's like a, you know, like a meme in Halo now about how it used to go for us. We didn't win every tournament. We would go to a tournament and get upset. And because you're winning your scrims doesn't mean you're going to all of a sudden...
Yeah. Do you prefer splitting scrims, though, because of the stuff that you can work on and like figuring stuff out, rather than, like, for example, like, if you're just, like, 13-0ing, like, do you feel like you're, like, we're not really that prepared for if a team actually does fight back to a degree? You know what I mean?
You just want to be, like, stable. Like, if you're, like, 13-0ing people and... If you're like
kind of wanting close games,
if you're like beating people and it's close games, you'd almost like rather lose that close game, because then you could like figure out how to not make it close. Whereas like a lot of times, I think the difficult part in gaming is like you'll win. What's like a good game type for us? I'm trying to think. Like, I mean, we don't have many good game types right now. I'm trying to think of like a really good game type for us. Like bizarre CTF. Like we're solid on bizarre CTF, right?
You've definitely transitioned into a solid bizarre CTF.
Yeah, we don't like, because of that. Like right now, like we're not going over bizarre CTF. We're going over the other maps a lot, like, and like bizarre, like recharge exactly, like recharge. Funny enough, we've actually been playing a lot better on it, probably because of how much we've been going over it. But
yeah, you need to.
Like, so the reason why I reference that is because if you're winning it or you view it as one of your best, just because you have a close game, you don't necessarily like in your mind go, oh, we need to go over that. So if you're 13-0ing people, but they're like close games, you're not like in your mind hitting the panic button of like, we need to figure this out. Whereas like for us, I tell people like, it's actually, you know, we were a month out at the time. We were a month out from Anaheim. Now we're more like 2-3 weeks. And I was telling people like we're really bad at recharge.
Yeah.
Now is the time to be bad at recharge because we have the time to figure it out. You know what I mean?
What was causing that? Do you think, like being bad at recharge?
With Matt, so with Matt,
because that's what I noticed.
No, so with Matt, like Matt being Royal 2, they're both Matt, so I always have to clarify.
Yeah, clarify.
With Royal 2, he just came back and like it's just. It's so tough to like even like explain, but it's just a pacing thing. Like Formal plays at a different pace that Royal 2 plays. Royal 2 wants to like collapse, where I think Formal wants to like contain.
More like passive.
Yeah, he wants to like contain and then push. Neither is the wrong way to play. You just have to be on the you just have to be on the same page of what you're doing. So like on Recharge Stronghold, Matt, damn it, I did it again. Royal 2 would want to push every 3 cap.
Yeah.
Right? And then like our first couple scrims, we were like,
you're just doing totally different
yeah,
things.
like it's just we're just like going rogue on the map. Like no one knows what's going on. One person does this, you see him do that, so then you try to do so, like you try to like play off that. It just turns into this like never ending cycle.
Yeah, you're like
of bad
trying to accommodate with like frantic basically play style.
Exactly.
Like because you're not on the same page.
Compared to like I think what we've always been good at is like figuring out how we want to play. And then it looks very, even though it might be chaotic in game, in our minds it's very controlled because you know what's happening. But that's why you have to work through the reps of getting it down. You have to, on recharge, like we would get put in a 3 cap and like we would just give up like 200 points, like straight. And it was like you have to figure out like, okay, what are we going to do when this happens? You know? We would cap B and all of a sudden we would lose B. And like we had to go to theater and be like, why do we keep, like what's going on that we get this cap and all of a sudden it's gone right away? Until you go through it, you don't know. And that's the difficult part with scrims. And, you know, with getting Royal 2 back specifically, you know, we played for 2 weeks with Formal and we went to an event with Formal.
Yeah.
An event is a really big learning experience. You know, think about
we played
through open bracket with Formal and we're talking strategies and getting on the same page to where we're able to cause a big upset and beat Optic, you know. But then you go back to Royal 2 and it's just a complete 180 of communication and play style and all this stuff.
You have to basically like start from scratch almost again.
Yeah. And then we're being thrown into the situation, and I don't say thrown into in a negative way. It's just a situation we're dealt. It's fine. It is what it is. Of every couple days or every week, I should say, we're going back and playing with Formal. And then we don't want to just like we don't want to just like blow the pro series. So like we're having to like midweek go back to a different strategy and then like
and play style again.
People are like, well, why don't you work with Formal to get on the same thing? It's like because we have to be prepared for Anaheim.
Yeah, because Anaheim is LAN. That's the biggest push right now. Makes sense.
And as much as I love Formal, because I do, like I have nothing but nice things to say about Formal.
Yeah,
like he's an incredible player, incredible person. I wish him the best. It also, because he's going to go somewhere else now, it doesn't benefit us to keep working with him. To get him on our page of what we're trying to do. Yeah,
makes sense.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, because he can then bring that.
Because then the next team he goes to, he could be like, "Hey, they really like doing this. Like, they really want to do this," and he can already do that. But we're not to the degree that like we now. He has page 1. He has page 1 because he went through page 1 with us. Right. We're on to page 2.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like, easy reference, I guess.
Royal 2.
Yeah.
So I have a question about like the LAN event. Obviously we had the first LAN event, and like you said, you obviously had like a difficult situation because you kind of had to reset things with Formal, of course, and like play through that. But like, how was LAN? Was it cool to like play?
It was cool for us. It was cool for us because we were on Xboxes the entire time.
I know you were.
And didn't have to go through any of the reset issues that other people were going through. Now, like tech stuff aside, it was fun.
Because we had like a cool conversation last night, you and I, about like stuff that you're really good at and like what your strong suit is. Yeah. And you obviously mentioned the fact that screen watching is something that you really enjoy doing and something that you love about LAN in particular, and how you're able to gain a lot of intel from doing that. And like how was that doing that on the main stage, even just in like the bracket play as well, but just in terms of like the way that you play on LAN, because you were frying. You were so good.
Thank you. LAN is just like way more my element. I feel very like when I get to an event, I mean, I've been doing it a long time, so I'm sure that's probably part of the reason, but I just feel very like comfortable. Like I'm sat there and I can see my teammates' screens, and I just start to see the game a lot easier than online. I think most pros would say the same thing.
Yeah.
You know, everyone, when you get to LAN, you just see the game better. But for my role specifically of like how I communicate, it just helps me a lot. I'd say playing at a LAN setup.
Yeah.
Playing was fun. It was cool. Like, you know, online you just kind of get BS over and over again. So it's fun to like get to LAN and not like you just. Not like you win every 1v1, but like those kind of dumb deaths.
Obviously, the bracket has stuff to do with it, but like it's almost like an even playing field at that point.
Yeah.
Like, depending on like how things go, and I know there was like a couple of different struggles for different reasons in Raleigh, like not about your team, but just in general about the event.
Yeah.
Which, you know, will get ironed out for Anaheim, but it's still really cool to like kind of get into that environment once again.
Yeah, it was like I just wasn't looking. I think the cool thing with Raleigh was I just really wasn't, with everything that had gone on from the start of the game. I just didn't look forward to the event. My vote was to not go. I just straight up was like, I'm kind of done here. Like, honest, I don't want to go. I don't think
people blame you for that. Like, it was a really hard,
it was just a tough situation. I mean, you know, and I'm TJ and Brad can relate to it somewhat because TJ and Brad have been teaming with Royal 2 for 5 years. I've been teaming with Royal 2 10 years. So it was like to go and have this whole thing happen, and I'm not going to be sat next to him. It just felt weird, you know, like it felt weird, and I really didn't want to. To be fair, my vote to go was before I knew we can get formal. When Sen told us they want us to go, I basically was like, if we can get formal, I'll go. If we can't get formal, I'm probably not. I really don't think it's a good idea.
I think also like the team also had to deal with something that, you know, you guys, you know, again, like I said, only coming up if it comes up, but very, very quickly, like you guys had to deal with a little bit of public humiliation because you weren't aware of things that were actually happening or had happened. Like your team weren't aware of what actually had happened and were told something completely different. So like obviously some of your team went to war.
Yeah, I didn't.
And you didn't. Yeah. I would say you were like a couple jabs, you know, like, and rightfully so, because at the time you didn't know.
Nah, but see, like, I threw a couple, and I don't want to go.
It was minimal.
Yeah,
it was minimal.
I don't.
You know, there's no point in getting into it. There's
no, I want to get into it slightly.
Okay, go on then.
No, I get what you're saying with it, and I agree. Like TJ, especially
TJ around it is tough.
Yeah, well, for 100%, especially for like TJ. Like TJ defended Matt like heavily, you know, where he was going at everyone on Twitter and stuff like that. My jabs, I kind of stick by. My jabs were really about the way that this whole thing went, and we don't have to get into it because obviously,
I don't want to get into
I know
it.
You don't want to, but just the way the thing was conducted. You know, I've openly talked about it, so it's not like sugarcoating it or anything. Like other people knew our verdict before us. Like I think that's not cool. Like other pro players knew our verdict before us when we were trying to figure out what's going on. Being left 24 hours roster lock, and some of it's like petty. Some of it's like, look, like that's the situation Matt put us in, and then there's some stuff that I think that for future reference, when it happens, something like this happens, the situation needs to be different for the people that are going through it. And a good example of that, to be honest with you, is we won't go into names and stuff like that. We had another accusation come up against a pro player on a team that we know because of someone that comes to the house regularly. You follow?
I'm following.
Yeah, and there's really no protocol. Like pro players made this accusation against another pro player. There's no protocol at all. And that's why I stick by my jabs of what I was kind of saying and still saying to it of there just needs to be a better process. That's all there is to say about it. Royal 2 put us in a dumb situation, and it's one of those things we just have to get through over time. And to be honest, I think we're through it. We're at the end of the stage now. We're back to playing. I'd say water under the bridge. But for us to other pro players, I think it's all water under the bridge, honestly, other than like United who don't like us. We don't have any problems with anyone else, I'd say. We don't even have a problem with them. They just don't like us. But we're getting scrims again, just back to normal, you know. So.
Yeah, I think clean slate going forward. And, you know, before we end the podcast and tell a review, just really quickly, obviously Anaheim coming up very soon. You know, as a team, where's your head at? How are you guys feeling as a team in terms of, you know, like getting back into the swing of things like Anaheim, like, you know, kind of what are your goals for it? And, you know, how are you feeling about the rest of the season at this point?
Our goal is just to get us, my goal is to get us in contention for Anaheim. I don't think we'll be the favorites heading into Anaheim just for the fact of we really, in this scenario, and again, I'm not shifting blame. It's just the situation we're dealt with. We just weren't given a lot of time. We didn't get to play with Matt in any tournaments. That's a lot of time lost. situation is what it is. So my goal for Anaheim is to get us in contention to where I feel like we can win every series. Does that mean we're the favorites? Probably not. But I think that's kind of a fair goal overall. Like just make the most of the tournament environment. Right? Try to get back into it. Try to get into the finals and see what we can do. I'm confident heading into the rest of the year. Like people. We kind of brought up, like, people have been like, I don't know if you guys can win, and like in my head I'm like, we've already won twice, and that was with no practice. So in my mind, it's not like we can't get there. It's just we just need the time to get there. And hey, look, we might get there for Anaheim, but we have a lot of work to do, and it just takes time at the end of the day. The good thing is, and I think the way that our team is looking at it, not that other tournaments don't matter, but I think every team will have the same goal of, look, the tournament you really want to win is going to be the World Championship. And in past through Halo 5, the World Championship is always in March. This one's in October. So even though if this was going on and it was in March, I'd be like panic mode. Because like that's when. We have a lot of time to get to the top spot, or to be contending for the top spot. Yeah. Listen, I want to contend for every event. You know that. You know that about me.
You have a good trajectory right now to peak still.
Yeah, exactly. Because like the game is still developing so much. Who knows if settings change like in that time frame? So to answer the question, I feel good heading into Anaheim. We got a lot of work to do. I think we'll be able to contend for a title. And then where I'm really looking forward to, because now they've changed it to like minors and majors and stuff like that. So now, so now I think like mentally, I think that I'm like really ready for Anaheim, or like excited for Anaheim. Yeah. But Kansas City is going to be the event where like I think that's like the true test. Like Kansas City, like the major is going to be like, okay, we have a lot of time now in us that we've practiced. That'll probably be the best version of us that you see. Okay. But like I said, might happen for Anaheim.
Yeah. You just don't know.
Yeah. I just think we have to be somewhat realistic about it, because I think that's what we did so well at the start of the year, or the start of the game. Yeah. Where, hey, we wanted to come out and dominate, but we couldn't get scrims, and we were in LA doing content at the time, so we're a couple days behind there. I remember
you guys like not even, you said not even knowing like what, like the Mangler and what you could do.
Yeah, like we played against Optic, and I was getting like 2 shot. They were shooting the Mangler twice and then swapping to their BR.
And you're like, wait, what?
And they were getting it like every time, and I was just like, whoa, like damn, like that gun's good,
Well, I'm excited to see how you guys, shake it up in Anaheim and just go for it. I think you just take on this event with like nothing to lose. Yeah. There's no pressure on your shoulders at all. Like it's there really isn't, because you have as many excuses as you want. I know it sounds stupid, but you do, because like if you don't perform, like, hey, who can blame you? Well, but then you have nothing to lose. So just take what you can from it.
Exactly. And that's going into kind of what I was saying with how we had no practice at the start of the game and stuff like that. Like when we were losing those tournaments, like it sucks to lose, but we like internally we're in a really good headspace, and that's kind of what we're trying to keep working towards now. Is like, okay, look, it sucks that we're coming out flat in some of these scrims, and maybe we're not the most prepared, but like, hey, look, we got nothing to lose here. Like, let's just play confident and let's see what we can do.
Yeah, indeed. Well, I think that's going to do it for today's episode. Do you want to rate the coffee?
9.5.
9.5. Yeah. Summer Moon.
I think I gave it a 10 last time. I could be wrong. I think I gave it a 10. I could be wrong. I actually don't remember. Like the last one from this brand. The reason why it's a 9.5, 1, I love a dark roast. 2, it is very true to exactly what it says. Would you say the same thing?
No, it's very, very, very true. Yeah, I've got to say this is an absolutely incredible coffee. I'm going to give it a 9.7. I think it's a really strong, really, really delicious. I love a dark roast, and I just love the smell of it as well. But it's a really nice.
I might go 9.8 now. Just joking.
Oh my god. Absolutely gorgeous Summer Moon. Check out our Instagram for some details on it and what it looks like. There's lots of info on there. I'm going to try and post to socials for 2 times a little more regularly now. But thank you guys so much for tuning in. I hope you've enjoyed our first episode back, our first episode of the New Year's resolution.
Let's not even call it first episode back. It's just...
Yeah, what's our first episode of the New Year's resolution?
No, it's just another episode.
Oh, it's just another, it's just another day
episode,
in the life.
And we're just getting back to it. That's all.
Just another day.
Because if you keep saying that, it just sounds like...
This is true.
episode back. We've said that like 4 times now.
We're back, baby.
Yeah,
We're back.
It's just another episode.
No,
it's another episode, and we're going to try to be consistent with it now.
Well, I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of the week. I hope you guys enjoy the next Pro Series and enjoy the lead up to Anaheim, of course. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll catch you on the next episode. And as always, stay on the grind.